guys, welcome to Walking in Wellness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kristina Carmen, and today is just a beautiful and big introduction to why I even decided to start doing this. What is the motivation behind this? And yeah, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. So here we go. So I'm Dr. Kristina Carmen. Welcome. And I'm so delighted that you can come on this journey with me and listen to me waffle along about all the things that I find so passionate and so exciting about this incredible, beautiful world that we live in. I, um, I'm in my 40s. Yay. I am a mother of two teenage boys and I'm married to a beautiful, wonderful British man. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, and I am the daughter of Hungarian immigrants. My dad moved to the US when he was a baby. Well, not a baby, he was 4 years old. And my mom was 13 when she moved to Canada. And then they met in Toronto. And my dad's been there ever since. So I'm first generation Canadian American, which is very exciting. And I feel very proud. But I grew up with a very Hungarian upbringing. I went to Hungarian school and did Hungarian dancing and Hungarian church and like all sorts of things, very much centered around that community. But those influences also brought in my love of cooking and my love of food and for being practical about the way that we look after our bodies. You know, there was a lot of like canning and preservatives and preserving, shall we say, and fermenting and all sorts of these things brought into the way that I grew up, into the way that we ate. So I hope that some of that will filter into what I can bring into this beautiful podcast and can give you guys some tips as well. From Toronto, I moved to New York, and I'm an ex-ballerina. I trained with the National Ballet of Canada, and feel tremendously, tremendously lucky to have had that experience. Unfortunately, that I had to kind of step away from that world and industry because I have issues with my feet, big bunions, and I had an injury, some stress fractures. And then there were some various, challenging things that happened all around that time. My ballet teacher that was with me from when I was a baby ballerina, she passed away very suddenly. And then I lost another very, very dear friend, all within this industry. And it was a very challenging time. So I had to step away from that. And part of my stepping away was moving to New York. And I trained in special effects makeup artistry. And I worked in that industry for many years and I loved it, loved it, loved it. But it's intense. And it's also not terribly healthy in many, many ways. But while I was working as a makeup artist, I also trained as a yoga instructor. And the motivation behind this was my need for movement and my need for that discipline and that determination that I still carried very much with me from when I was a dancer. I needed that. I needed that energy in my life. It took me a very long time, I would say, to realize that this is why I had to go and train as a yoga instructor. If you had asked me then, I wouldn't have been able to tell you, apart from the fact that I needed to do something outside of working all the time. I needed something. And I walked into like a gym class and there was an incredible instructor, an Ashtanga instructor, and he was amazing and very, very open to including me in his class. I'd never done yoga at this point. It was not something that I grew up with or had any kind of experience of. And he really, really inspired me to move forward with all of that. So I trained as a yoga instructor and I started teaching. And the teaching, worked very beautifully for me in parallel with my makeup artistry career. I think also the yoga therapy and the yoga instruction really started to open my eyes into what does life look like once we step off the mat. And for anyone who has ever practiced yoga realizes actually so much of what we do, so much of the yoga actually begins once we step off the mat. And this is where kind of the calling for studying nutritional science came from. I wanted to really understand the full aspects of yoga and yoga therapy. And that really came down to what we feed ourselves. What are we nourishing ourselves with? So maybe my story is a little bit non-conventional. I know a lot of my peers sort of find themselves in this industry because they've had something, a medical condition or an issue, or a family member that's become very ill and they were motivated or called to step into this career as a result of that. My story is not. My story came very much from, this steadfast determination as a ballerina and thinking that was going to be my career and that was going to be my direction. And actually, life had other plans. And those challenges and those, that tremendous, tremendous, tremendous hurt and pain that this wasn't going to happen for me sort of launched me into this new path and these new steps. And the yoga in particular was a real sort of catalyst for me to realize actually there's so much more beyond just the yoga. And, looking after this incredible being, incredible body is so, so, so important for us to live a vivacious and incredible, incredible life. I mean, it's such a gift that we're here and that we can live this life with its challenges and all, because there's no one that goes through this experience without some, hardship or things that are really very terrible. And I know there are incredibly terrible stories and terrible things that happen in people's lives and along their journey. However, we still have an opportunity to look after ourselves as much as possible so that we can handle all those things that come along the way. So from the yoga, I stepped into nutritional therapy and started my journey of study. It was a lot of years of study, guys, is all I can say. Nutritional therapy, then functional medicine, then naturopathic medicine, and herbal medicine, and so many other lovely, beautiful qualifications along the way. So it's been an absolute incredible journey and an absolute honor to do this work. I am honestly fired up every single day talking about nutrition, about movement, about stress, about, breath, about mindset, about boundaries, all of these incredible things that I think we need to be talking about and shouting from the rooftops because we don't value them enough. There's a lot of information out there. My goodness, there's a lot of information out there. So I'm hoping that this podcast is a soft place for you guys to all land and a place where you can get no nonsense advice from my experience, from a naturopathic perspective, from a functional perspective. I am very, very passionate about research and making sure that everything is cited and looked up, and I'm not just spreading silly things. Research is an incredible thing and it's always evolving. So if there is information that at one point was talked about and is now no longer correct, we will definitely come back on here and talk about those things, because I think it's important to make sure that we're giving you honest advice and truthful advice. But also I think I want this space to be a space for you to come and listen and just enjoy and to take a pause from your life and maybe come away with some tools that you can apply so that you can bring some of that beautiful, vivacious, and bountiful energy into your life as well. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for this and for this opportunity, for this incredible platform, and for listening to me. And we will carry on with some fun content moving forward. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.